This is the truth about the wildfires. We've watched this guy before on our channel, Paul Watson. He talks all sorts of stuff about a city or something. Last live we did, it was pretty racist. I'll be honest. It's an interesting take, but I wanted to see kind of what this one is like now. Let's pop it open and see what he has to say about the wildfires, because it already seems very racially charged. Firefighting is mostly white and male. A California program aims to change that. I don't feel like what he's gonna say is politically acceptable in most groups, but in this group, remember, hashtag 2025 bring bullying back. So fucking do this.
Firefighting is mostly white and male. The California program aims to change that. Great, and how did that work out for you?
Dude, right in fucking 5 seconds into the video. Oh my God.
The whole entire hills are on fire.
Oh, there goes the structure. Oh, look at it collapse. There it goes.
Oh my God. We're out of the way.
Hell.
Mandatory evacuation orders are now in place.
Feels like this a scene that you would see in a movie.
Oh, you're telling me this crack leadership team at the Los Angeles...
Oh my God. Is that real? You know, when I was a kid, we depicted firefighters, and I'm the guy that joined the military because of the marketing, right? Because like any guy that you thought was a firefighter, a police officer, a military guy, they were jacked, they were handsome, sharp, square jaw, big ball and energy, big masculine energy, right? I envied that. I thought it was sick. I was like, whenever I saw a firefighter, I was like, wow, like that is some fucking hero right there. That is amazing. When I look at these people, I think, what a fucking joke. Like, realistically, none of these people could get into a firefighting suit and save me. Not one of the people standing in this screen right now could pick my body up. It's crazy. There's training promos with the one of the right that would blow your mind. I have to find, if you can, what do I look up to find that? I need to find that. That's crazy. The county voted to cut the firefighting budget last month too. Jesus, man. That's disgraceful. That is disgraceful. They made promo videos to make it more inclusive and less like we knew as kids. Well, even basic training has changed to what I hear from relatives. I've heard the same. It's a pretty shitty thing. They look like they use special pronouns. Yeah. They'll save you with their pronouns. This is crazy, man.
Police Fire Department dropped the ball? Surely not. You're telling me the LA fire chief should have focused more on preventing fires than her commitment to gay pride?
Its leadership has since changed.
Surely not. You're telling me the campaign to hire fewer white men, more women, and more rainbow people?
She took time out of her already...
Rainbow people is crazy. Oh my God. Oh, this guy is crazy. I don't know how he gets away with it. I make one video and I say one thing and people get mad. That is crazy. County and city both moved money from the fire department to the police department. I mean, I could understand why. The crime rates are insane. What are you supposed to do? I mean, realistically, they're in California. Like, you should be aware that this is happening. I think very clearly you should clear the forests of dead brush. Like, that's just kind of common sense anywhere I've been. Like on a military base, this is a great example. If you're in a range, they do controlled burns in the forests all around, because it's understandable that if there's a stray brass that lands in a pile of dead brush, that brass is hot enough to light that brush on fire. So it's like, prevent it by clearing the brush, like pretty simple, or do controlled burns. I didn't see any of that happening in California. I work for the DoD, and yes, lower and change of standards, and it's showing. I can't even imagine, man. When I left, it was the year that they allowed trans people to join the military. When I left, and I remember like just how horrible that was received by many people. America is so sloppy, it's a disgrace. It really is. People don't take care of themselves, and then they demand power for having done nothing to take care of themselves or get power. You know, people want a first place trophy without having done anything to get to first place, and it's absolutely horrible. And these DEI programs are what gets you there. You know, it is what gets you there, because, well, if you have diversity and an equity problem, You get promoted above your peers just because they're white males, even if they have far superior accolades, resumes, and anything else. It doesn't matter, which is just the absolute, like, promotions and scaling in any context, whether it's government, whether it's business, anything, should be based on merit and merit alone. If that person is applicable for the job, they should get the job. It shouldn't be if they hit a certain checkbox, which it's so ludicrous to me, especially when we're talking about something like security, like government security or safety like this. It's just nuts. I had a few Europeans ask me if I was American on a trip I took a few years ago. Said I don't look like an American. This was an amusement park. Yeah, this place is an amusement park. They can't control burn if there's no monies. True. True. If you fucking pull all the money, you're kind of screwed. When will people get hired for their skills and expertise again? Geez, honestly, do not care about skin color or sexuality or whatnot. Just do a good job and leave people alone with the private shit. Yeah, exactly. I think the grand majority of people think that way. I think the grand majority of people want to have skill be the reason that other people acquired a job. I don't want a president of the United States to be a female just because she's a female. I want her to be actually an amazing person who's going to lead the country in the right direction and save me some fucking money. If that's not a person that is being elected, I don't want it, right? But if it's being pushed because she's like, I just don't understand the mechanisms of action there. Like, who is that working for in the long run? Absolutely no one. There's a video on Instagram with the firefighters filling up bags with water from their fire truck. Oh man, the bag thing is actually normal. I hope so. Remember the female Secret Service protecting Trump after he was shot? She's far too short to block a bullet. Yeah. Well, she ran away. That's the other problem. I'm from the work hard and earn your keep generation. I think I'm on the tail end of that generation, but I'm absolutely more associated with that generation. I
busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes elite. A 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? So I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 33.
What? What? I mean, like, just put that into a controlled vacuum. It's never enough. Is it enough? Like, there has to be some level of measurement. You have to be able to measure people's physical performance. I know they do PT tests or physical testing. They have to be able to say, okay, well, statistically, we're accepting more trans people, we're accepting more females into positions and less white males or males in general, and suddenly physical testing is just going through the shitter. What's going on here? I don't know. It's never enough. We just need to hire more. That's the only problem. It's like, no, there's clearly a problem. And if we're talking about people's safety, like the millions of fucking people having this issue right now who are losing their homes, you know, like there's a little bit of a one-to-one there. But you got to give them a position, or else how are they supposed to learn? I think companies are just trying to even the odds so that in the near future, they'll be people with different backgrounds. Sure, but I could also make the argument that those people aren't getting the positions, not because of their gender or their specific ethnicity. It's because they genuinely don't have the expertise required. If I take a person and I'm considering hire someone, I am going to hire the person that has the greatest likelihood of successfully achieving the reason I'm hiring them for. I'm not going to choose someone as a preference because it's a hot chick wearing a skirt. It's the same concept. Like, just because she has a physical body that I think is more preferable, I'm still going to hire the fat guy who can get the job done 10 times better. Like, the physical outlook has no change to my direction and choice. And I think it shouldn't here either. Like, clear logic will tell you that there's probably better fit people for this job. There's no way there wasn't. There's no way there wasn't. Even if you wanted to say, like, okay, I want to fill the positions with a more diverse group of people so that they can learn and become more solidified in their positions, great, there's school for that. Like, go to fucking school or pay for an education. Like, these are things that everyone has to work for in the society. Many people might say, well, Kolton, you're wrong. It's a reality. Like, I didn't start from a wealthy position. I was adopted. I made it. No one paid me. I didn't get any government money. Like, none of that shit happened. How did that happen? It's not because I had privilege. It's because I worked my fucking ass off, you know? Like, saying you deserve to be in a position because you're diverse is crazy. Just work hard and you will get accepted. I think 99% of people, yes, there's racist people out there, don't get me wrong, but 99% of people would say, yeah, if you could fucking if you can like fly the ship better, you're going to be the pilot. You know, it doesn't matter. The physical performance for most of these jobs are lower because people can't meet the standards of yesterday's physicality. That's true. They are lower, but I would say that for a female, as a biological blueprint of a female, you can't do as much as a 240-pound male. It's just not going to happen. Mass moves mass, and at a certain point, there's some insufficiencies within performance. But they are going to school and making it through the ranks, no? Well, yeah, if they did those things, then perfectly fine. But in this case, is what they're saying, and she just said, is that she's specifically hiring females and gender-oriented people in a different way. Maybe at least that's the way I'm interpreting it from this video. But for me, like, that sounds like she's going to preferentially hire other people because of their traits and not their skills.
300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that.
Wasn't as important as making sure firefighters had enough water to put out fires. Surely not, according to the LAFD
That can't be
chief.
real. Hold on, that can't be real. There's no way that that's a real picture. That's gotta be AI, bro. There's no way that's AI. Bro, I'm Wes Watson now. I just couldn't get the shades in time. They didn't ship in time. Yeah.
Surely not.
That can't
According
be
to
real.
the LAFD chief, there aren't enough firefighters. Who could have seen that coming?
113 LA city firefighters have been suspended without pay for defying the city's vaccine mandate.
The vast majority.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just got to say, well, this is an us problem, not a nature problem.
Of fire hydrants don't even have a full water supply.
And I asked the captain, out of every 10 hydrants you attach to today, on average, how many are you getting full water from? He says little to none.
They're literally...
What? How does that even happen? Don't people live here and, like, I don't know, occupy the space that requires water? I feel like that's kind of bullshit. My mom was one of the first foreign affairs officers in the Army, so she was going through basic training in the 80s. She said she could sometimes barely pick up the pack. Yeah. And that's not to be rude, but that's how it should be, you know? Like, okay, another thing that happened when I was in the military, when I joined, only men could join combat positions. Any position that had to deal with combat, only a male could join it, a biological male. After about 3 years of being in, they allowed females to join combat positions. Guess what happened? They all failed the tests. Every single one of them. The first row of females that they had go through couldn't make it. Guess what happened? They let a female into Ranger school. Did she make it? Nope. She didn't make it. And it's not a matter of did they not train for it? Were they not ready? These bitches trained for it. They trained hard. It's just, you can't do what we could do. And that's not me being sexist or anything. It's a reality that we have to face. That chick looked like she drank from the hose. That's crazy. Oh my God. We have a drought in SoCal because we use most of the water for farming. We supply your almonds, berries, milk, and avocados. So there's a drought of water to use for the city because of farming. It's interesting.
Having to use traffic cones dunked in puddles. But it's just a conspiracy theory that there's no water.
No firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
Same news station literally seconds later.
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water.
LA County.
Oh my, no. 72 genders, 0 operational fire hydrants. Jesus.
72 genders, 0 operational fire hydrants. And why? Well, partly because they imposed environmental mandates that diverted water in order to protect a 3-inch fish.
Because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called the smelt. and for the sake of a smelt, they have no water.
Yes, yeah.
He's just like so apathetic about the situation. He's like just so disappointed in people's behavior about this.
Home may have been totally consumed by raging flames. Your pets may have suffered agonizing deaths. Your life may never be the same again. But hey, at least we saved the smelt fish. Totally worth it, right? After all, no one could have predicted this anyway.
I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons it freaked me out. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it.
Trump called it in 2018 and got mocked. But don't believe the firefighters when they're literally telling you there's no water to put out the fires. Don't believe those who claim DEI played a role. And don't believe anyone who's trying to politicize this by accurately blaming the people who were responsible for it. Far easier to just blame it all on global warming.
There are a lot of other issues, climate change.
Then absolutely no one in any position of power will have to take any responsibility whatsoever. The lack of accountability is truly shocking. But how is the media covering this? Thanks to Ground News, the sponsor of today's video, which you can check out at ground.news/PJW or scan.
It's an interesting concept, actually. The pushing of blame, which, and here's my personal opinion, I think this could have been managed better, but you know, pushing the blame to global warming or saying like it's not our fault, it's just an inherent lack of overall, like we have this saying in the Army. Sorry, I bring this up a lot right now. We have this saying in this Army, always view higher. Like, you know, like if you're in a helicopter, like a Black Hawk, and you fly up, you can see so much more of the field and where people should be or where they need to be, and then you know much more. You come back down and you can integrate what you've learned. But if you're just on the ground and you're viewing from your own eyes straight ahead, it's very hard to conceptualize like the whole battlefield. And this is kind of like one of those things where I'm like, I feel like they're just kind of looking straight forward and they're like tunnel vision, global warming, instead of like looking up and seeing, expanding the whole region beyond them. And just stepping outside of their own beliefs for a second to look at what's going on. Bro, this is Cap. You can see the helicopter footage now from of the firefighters using hydrants and dropping water from helicopters. Yeah, I feel like that's not true. That's the point I'm making. I think that's probably very accurate, because I don't think it's possible to have like a fire hydrant that's not functional. I think that's kind of silly. Most fire hydrants go through regular testing. You know, that's like a regulated component of what firefighters do. They have to test firefighters each year, especially after cold seasons, at least in the states I've been. And I just don't see that being possible. I kind of assumed that was also Cap.
And the QR code on the screen, I can instantly access every story on it and compare coverage. Interesting how the issue of the water tanks running dry is largely being ignored by left-wing sources, with only 6 out of 46 sources that lean left reporting on what should be a massive scandal. Also note how the New York Post blames Governor Gavin Newsom, while the left-wing Huffington Post tries to avoid pinning blame on public officials. Ground News helps me track all this and shines a spotlight on misleading narratives. You can check this out for yourself at ground.news/PJW. The link is down below. Social media algorithms can skew the kind of news coverage you're exposed to and actually lead you down rabbit holes that only result in information overload, meaning you miss out on stories that are actually of interest. But Ground News helps dissipate all that noise by giving me access to what matters in a clear format in one place, helping me stay informed of breaking news developments as they happen. And more important,
here's my thing with this kind of platform though, is couldn't they be fabricating the results of their own query? I don't feel like it's wise to trust any business with your, I don't know, overall consumption. I think you should get just a diverse set of consumption. Like, it would be very easy for them to quickly check my pixel, like my Google Pixel, and like say, or not my Google Pixel, just my Meta Pixel, and like see the other cookies of websites I've been on and determine what kind of political stance I have, and then show me that that's the political stance that's most prevalent, and then that the left political stance is biased towards some other belief. I feel like this could be really misused. Getting water from the hydrant has to do with the water supply, not the hydrant. Yeah, but I just feel like there's no way, if people were living there, using water on a daily basis, perfectly fine. How is there going to be a drought all of a sudden in water? I get that there's a fire, there's probably a lot more water being used, but people also evacuated the area. And if you consider each house that had used water, running the faucet, shower, dishwasher, laundry machine, all that just suddenly stops. And then what? I don't know. Maybe I'm just illiterate to the thing that's going on. I don't understand it. So this is me postulating, but I personally don't get it.
Importantly, what the media isn't covering that could lead to blind spots. I've found ground news to be an invaluable tool in shaping my daily news digest. So it's never been a better time to check out.
Look at where we are, though. Fingers pointing while the world is burning. It's ridiculous. Yeah. No, I think overall it is ridiculous. It's like anything has to be politically charged now in any kind of direction. It doesn't matter. I have beliefs that aren't politically charged, right? Like my beliefs are that, what we talked about, the rainbow people at the beginning of this, I don't think that's acceptable just to accept them into a position because they are what they are. I think it should be skill-based only. Acquisition of any kind of employment should be skill-based or based on your accolades, resume. And I don't believe in that, but it doesn't make me political. I don't believe in everything that one side has or the other side has. It's just that is my own belief. They also cut funding to the fire department. Yeah, I know we talked about that. Yeah, I am going to the Arnold.
Ground.news/PJW. They're currently offering my viewers 40% off the Vantage plan, which is the one I use for unlimited access. Crucially, they're independently owned and subscriber funded. So please support their mission to hold the media accountable at ground.news/PJW. I mean, yeah, parts of LA may now look like scenes from an apocalyptic disaster movie.
Okay, I guess let's park along this street, yeah? And then, Dave, if you can, just go ahead of us and try to set up a signal.
But hey, at least as you desperately try to rescue...
Man, that looks crazy. That looks like straight up, like, seriously, like Afghanistan or Iraq type shit. That's like broken down, absolute deserted areas. That's some crazy shit to be seeing in one of the most populated areas in the United States.
Charred photographs of loved ones from...
This is strange to me. I work in water treatment in Texas, and TCEQ, the agency that regulates environment, requires us to have 200 to 300 gallons per minute of water ready at each fire hydrant. I mean, so clearly that would tell me that there is likely water in the hydrants and in the water system and supply. Maybe we're just seeing a bias in reporting here, which is kind of what I think personally. Think of all the looters with nothing to steal. Yeah, this California after all. That's crazy. It's nice sitting here in a state that is not that one.
From the remains of your home. You can peer out through the billowing smoke and ashes of your memories, safe in the knowledge that LA County has a diverse and inclusive workforce.
We are hosting our new employee orientation, and our focus is to teach our new employees for them to understand cultural competency, identify implicit and unconscious bias, and be aware of the importance of us having a diverse and inclusive workforce.
This utter clown, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, cuts $20 million in funding for the firefighters, is pissing around in Africa on vacation as LA burns, then has the temerity to act all stunned and...
I can't even, that's just so disappointing to me. Look, I get diversity, equity, inclusion, but you don't need to have a whole course on it. I just think it's missing the point. You create more divide when you force feed people regulation like that. It just creates more divide. If it was never an issue to begin with, it likely would not be defined as an issue or defined even as different. And the fact of the matter is when you constantly bombard people with, we're different, we're different, we're different, you have to respect us, we're different. Well, yeah, I'm going to identify you as different. But if motherfuckers just lived life and didn't bother force feeding people this sort of agenda, this wouldn't be a definition of difference. This would just be, we are people, It's crazy. If you took a 2-month break after training for 2 years naturally, you would absolutely be perfectly fine. After 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, yeah, you'd be right back to where you left off, perfectly fine. But there is water. They just overpumped, and then the pressure got so low that now it's slow again. Okay. Interesting. So maybe they're just using an excessive amount of water. It's not calculated, and therefore it's going too far. those programs are coming to an end. That's what the current, or well, future administration is saying, at least. Everyone wants to be different till people start treating them different. Yeah, that's a motherfucking fact. Hydrants don't have a tank. Each hydrant with 200 to 300 gallons of water standby. So they have a nearby water source ready to supply the water to the hydrant. So hydrants don't have a tank at each hydrant. Okay, so each individual hydrant is using one main system. They share a main system, and that system has the capacity to have 200 to 300 gallons of water on standby. So it would be theoretically very easy to diminish the water supply if, let's say, 8 fire hydrants were being used simultaneously. That would go to me, that sounds like it would go relatively really quick. I work with kids all day, and all they talk about is the differences. It's pretty sad. No one wants to be an individual. Yeah. Okay, that is correct. So yeah, that makes sense then. That would assume that if people are running out of water, there's firefighters running out of water if they're simultaneously using the water supply altogether. For sure. Especially if they're using it uncontrolled. I think it requires a great deal of, kind of like I was just talking about, seeing from a higher position where you're actually able to visualize what's going on instead of just being in your own tunnel vision. Saying, well, we need to pour all the water on this.
When she gets questioned on it.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
That's crazy. Not even like a, I'm sorry, or I understand this is hard times. Everyone's going through it. I am too. Let's work together. Nothing.
I guess not, but rest assured, Californians can get all the help
Jackie blames the fires of the drones. Interesting take. I haven't heard that one.
They need. At URL.
Right now, if you need help,
Liz Gaspari, what's up?
emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL.
In April 2021, Governor Gavin Newsom championed how wildfire response would be so much better under the Biden administration.
Support the Biden administration with resources, not just rhetoric, to help this collective cause. It's a different paradigm. It's a different framework.
Then had the nerve, after he ensured that all the water got dumped in the Pacific, to accuse Trump of politicizing it for criticizing one of the very policies that exacerbated the fires.
President-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
It's one can't even respond to it. This guy wanted to politicize it.
Don't forget about all those 3-inch fish that Newsom saved.
In order to protect a tiny little fish, the water.
Yo, let's be real though. This next 4 years of American politics is going to be a movie. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be so funny with the shit that happens. He won't drop this. You know that he will not drop this shit for the foreseeable future. He's always going to bring this up and never let it go. Remember when they tried to save the fish and California set on fire?
Up north gets routed.
There's 0% chance Karen Bass will receive any criticism.
Into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden's brave leadership was on display when he ensured that victims who had their homes and livelihoods destroyed got notifications.
We got notification yesterday their home was probably burned down.
Wow, I'm sure a lame text message from the government was of great comfort.
I'm going to break down again. That's what I feel. It's my whole life.
Everything was in there. So lost everything.
But it's not all bad news.
Good news is, I'm a great grandfather.
Questions as to how the fires started continue to swirl. Some blame hurricane strength winds. Others, well, they've got their own theories.
Well, I don't know how it started. We don't know how it started. There,
I think
winds.
It's all the gay people in LA.
Okay. That's crazy. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's everybody in this chat right now. Which one of you was that? That was absolutely one of you. Oh my God, bro. That's
There we go.
Okay.
We got the
Unacceptable.
But the true culprits behind this are the very same people Californians are now having to rely on to fix this disaster.
There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country. And we've got a city.
Yeah, isn't she in Africa right now, like celebrating? I think that's why that guy was English that was talking to her. It's because I'm pretty sure she's like on a vacation in Africa right now.
It's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here.
America's on its knees. Just swear in Trump now, for God's sake. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit...
That's an interesting video, guys. I honestly can say I don't feel bad for the mayor, because I think this is truly a big error in management. I know that this probably would not happen if it was handled any differently. That's for sure.